These are my top 3 exercises for chest and how to build one of those big chest plates that the Romans used to wear, the Vikings used to wear, the Bushido warriors used to wear. As you've seen them, the big bulletproof chest. How to build one of those. Now, I don't have the best chest, I must admit. That's down to genetics. So first and foremost, let's get that out the way. Genetics play a massive role in chest. Look at the top 10 Mr. Olympias. And the reason why I'm using those guys as an example is because they are the extreme when it comes to building your physique or bodybuilding or whatever you want to call it. Now, even in the, what do they call the physique? I forgot the men's board short. And I genuinely, men's physique, yeah, it's called men's physique. What am I talking about? I'm getting confused with classic physique. Men's physique. Men's physique is all about the chest, shoulders and arms. Look at the different chest sizes and shapes in men's physique, the bodybuilding region or whatever you want to call it, whatever the hell it's called nowadays. Sorry for the brain fart. Every single chest is different. Some chests are thick, some chests are round, some chests are a little bit more squarey kind of shape, some are a little bit flat, some are a little bit broad. Everyone has a different chest shape. You cannot change your chest shape. If you want one of those Arnold Schwarzenegger chests, unfortunately, you can build your chest as the best you can, but it ain't gonna look like that. Simple as. I mean, if you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is what, from the 60s, 70s, is it late 70s? No, not late 70s, early 70s when Arnold Schwarzenegger was competing. But even if you go back to the 60s, he had one of those massive barrel chests and the old pint glass on top of the chest that they could balance. And it just looked good. Franco Columbu had a different kind of chest. He had the top that overpowered, and it kind of looked, I think his looked kind of nice. But Arnold Schwarzenegger had one of those big barrel chests. Everyone has different chest genetics. Kevin Levrone, one of my favorite bodybuilders, had a great chest, but his was overpowered with the shoulders, shoulder development. Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, more of a square-shaped pec. But enough about men's bodies. We're talking about your physique over here and how it is possible for you to build the best chest. Now, when it comes to chest, one of the first exercises that we do as kids are press-ups. Everybody does the press-up. Can the press-ups give you a good chest? Yeah, absolutely. Great chest to start with. Build some foundations. Get your tendons strong, your joints strong. Get into the motion of pressing away. It's amazing. In fact, I trained for many years at home only doing press-ups. How to build a chest today with all this fancy equipment we have in the gym. There's so many chest presses, incline, decline. There's the standing ones, there's the laying down ones now, there's the seated ones, there's the machine. There's so many different pressing machines at the minute. So for me, personally, they're my top 3 exercises to build a chest. Number 1, and this for me is the king of all chest exercises. It's not the bench press, it's the incline bench press. For me, most people, and you can look around, even some pro bodybuilders, just look around and they're always going to have, not maybe pro bodybuilders, but you know what I'm trying to say. Majority of people have an underdeveloped upper pec because they're just not training it enough. And when they're training it, everyone's got this thing in their head at the minute. Let's not go all the way down. Let's just stop here because where our flexibility allows, let's stop there. That's all we can do. And that's the good range of motion. So therefore, we'll just press back up from there. They're not getting that full stretch all the way down where the bar touches your upper pec and then you drive from there. That's the correct way to train the upper pec. And it shows right now that people aren't doing that, because if they were doing that, they wouldn't have this hollowed out area in their upper middle pec. Upper middle pec isn't trained by doing those uppercuts that everybody does from the bottom of the cable. They set the cable up there, they set the cable up there, and then doing this uppercut kind of motion like this. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how or why they even think that targets the upper chest. So incline bench press, for me, number 1, it's one of the hardest exercises. There's more range of motion in the incline bench press than there is in the flat. So the flatter you go, the less the range of motion. So more range of motion here, middle range of motion, and then obviously the decline, very, very minimal range of motion. That's why I don't recommend it. So number 1, incline bench press. Number 2 for me is the flat bench barbell press. Now here is where it kind of gets a little bit, you can do this or this, or technically it's 3, but this is, I'm just going to count this as 1. So it's dumbbells or bench. If you are doing the bench, please touch your chest. Stop this half rep bullshit. Let me explain something about this half rep bullshit. Let's say, I hope you guys can see this, I'm only as flexible as bringing the bar here, about 3-4 inches away from my chest. And I just train in this range of motion for 6 months. I'm going heavy one day, really, really heavy, because now I've trained in this range of motion a lot, I'm strong. The day I go really heavy and I lose the weight just a little bit by even a millimeter, and because my body is not strong in this range of motion, what's going to happen? Ping, it's going to come off. Your pec is going to fly off because you're not strong in the full range of motion. If you train full range of motion all the way down, touch your chest, press up, you're never going to tear your pec. Actually, I might not say never. You might still tear your pec, but you're going to reduce the risk of tearing your pec by a lot, massively. If your technique is right, you ain't going to tear pec, which is why some of the heaviest lifters in the world, when they do go crazy heavy, obviously they're going to tear their pec. But I see more average Joes tear their pec than some professional powerlifters. I wonder why that is, because maybe the powerlifter's technique is far better, which just goes to show technique is king when it comes to the bench press. Now, if you don't like the bench press and you are a little bit scared of the bench press, I understand. It is a very dangerous movement, especially if you're a bodybuilder or you're on the quest to just build a chest. By all means, then you can substitute that for dumbbells. But when it comes to dumbbells now there is less risk of tearing your pec. I think you should at least touch your shoulders with the dumbbells. All the way down, all the way up. Explode up, down slow, explode up. None of this half reppy bullshit thing at the top. If you have trained chest properly now, you've done 2 exercises, you've done 1 variation of the flat, and you've done 1 incline bench press. The 3rd exercise is not a press, and nor is it a cable fly. Cable fly. The 3rd exercise are dips. Dips are a great exercise to just carve out that bottom pec the right way. Because if you were to do bench press, you'd think, oh, I was going to do decline bench press because he likes the other 2 bench presses. The problem with decline bench press is this. You go way too heavy on it. You put way too much strain on your shoulders. I know Dorian Yates liked the decline bench press because he did that first and used more weights. And guess what happened to Dorian later on in his career? Injury after injury. This channel is mainly for longevity and building a little bit of muscle, but mainly longevity. We do not want to mess our shoulders up, okay? So decline is a no-no. When you're doing dips, you're getting a nice stretch at the bottom, and that strengthens your shoulder joint, your rotator cuff, you're stretching your pec, you're carving that chest out the way it should be. And that is my top 3 exercises for chest. Now, people are thinking, whoa, hang on a minute. He's forgot about the middle. What about the middle? We've got this bit covered, we've got the meat covered at the front, and we've got the upper covered. What about the middle? How do we get that line? Well, I hate to break it to you, there's no way of shaping that line or bringing it out. I keep seeing people, this is a new one I've seen recently, sit down sideways on a bench and press this way. Bro, pressing across that way is not gonna make your muscle fiber grow that way. Think about it. Muscle fibers do not grow the way you want to train them. That's not how it works. There's an insertion point for your muscle fibers. They're going to grow the way they want to grow, with the way your genetics allow it to grow. That is it. You cannot change that. So how do you build that middle? You don't. That is genetics. Well, in fact, it's not even genetics. Let me tell you how you get that middle pec. I made a video on this and I called it mountains and valleys. So if you're with me, if you're following, you'll understand what I'm trying to say. The bigger your mountains are, the bigger the pecs are, the deeper the valley's going to be. It's very, very simple. That's all it is. Build your pecs up with heavy presses. I like the barbells personally. You can use dumbbells as well. Build the pecs up with heavy presses. Carve the lower pec out and the side of the pec out with the dips. That's what I like. And also as well, when those people say to me, I've got a little bit of it looks a bit flabby over here, or I can't really see that line there. That's because of the body fat level. So you need to reduce your body fat level if you're not seeing the line over here. Reduce your body fat level, and the middle bit is going to be brought out by the sheer size of the pec. And again, a lot of it is down to the level of condition. If you are fat, you're not going to see much crevice, crack, whatever you want to call it. If you are very lean, you're going to see striations, you're going to see fibers, everything's going to be popping out. So you need to be getting lean in order to see more of a valley. So there you have it. It is a very, very simple. Now, there's another thing I want to address over here as well. People say to me, yeah, but when you're doing a bench press or an incline press, isn't it better just to do the Smith machine? It's the same thing because muscles don't know which angle you're working in. You're just pressing up. Now, I'm going to explain this in the same way I explained about how you might tear your pec if you don't go the full range of motion. If you were to use a barbell, when you use a barbell and you unrack a barbell and you're going all the way down to the top of the pec, it's not just you pushing out, because if you were to just explode out, the bar could go in all sorts of directions. There's a lot of stabilizer muscles involved in controlling the motion to go up. The bar could easily go this way, could easily go that way. What stops it from going up and down are your muscles. The stabilizers that make sure everything's solid. And where are those stabilizers? Some of the stabilizers in here. Strong shoulders, strong joints. That's what you need. Now, let's flip it over to a Smith machine. We've got a Smith machine. We've set the plane of motion right there, exactly where we want to press it. We're thinking that's the plane of motion. That's the bit we want to grow. All we need to do is press up. Problem now is this. Stabilizers are not in play. When the stabilizers aren't in play and you're just pressing the bar up and down, and it can only go down. So you can push that way or you can push that way. I hope you guys can understand what I'm trying to say. It's a bench press, but you can push in all sorts of different angles. And because you're not focusing on the bar going off or slamming you in the face or falling in your lap, because it's in the safety of a Smith machine, what happens? You can tear your pec, you can tear your tricep, and you can tear your lat. I've seen a lat tear on a Smith machine, someone benching. I know you think that's pretty crazy, but it's not as crazy. If you know how to bench, you do actually use your lats. But anyway, that's another story right there. So you're going to be at a risk of injury. So do not use the Smith machine because it tells you to switch everything off. And I know some people are going to say, yeah, but we want to focus the chest. We want to isolate the chest. Everything else is okay if it switches off. Bro, listen. Stop doing exercises, heavy compound exercises like the bench press to isolate something. It is not how you build a physique. So get that shit out of your head. Smith machine is a no-no. Now, what is also in a plane of motion without you worrying about what's going left and right? Any chest machine. And have you noticed I haven't included any chest machine in my top 3 chest exercises? Because the machines are going to play exactly the same role as the Smith machine. They're going to build you. Okay, some of the machines are like in an arc, so it's that way. Or some of the machines are straight up and down when they have the levers on the side going that way. You guys know what I'm talking about. There's many machines nowadays. And some are on a pulley system, so they'll be like this. And then you sit into the bench and it pulls it from the bottom. There's many different variations. But the principle is the same. You are not giving enough work to your stabilizer muscles. When you're not giving enough work to your stabilizer muscles, you can say, yeah, directly you're getting more work on your pec. But what's going to happen longevity wise, like I keep mentioning on this channel, longevity. Do you want to keep your shoulders for a long time? Do you want to have a good physique? I'm not here to brag or anything. I've built a very good physique without using any chest machines. If you want to build a far more advanced level of physique than I have, then by all means, go and do something else. I still think that you could build my physique and better and way better, at least another solid year or 2 years of graft with growth hormone and insulin better to then be thinking about machines because you're that massive. Stop watching these Nick Walker and all these guys using these machines. They are, first of all, the genetic freaks. Secondly, they did all the bench pressing at a younger age, even though he's very young now, but still, you get what I'm trying to say. They did all the bench pressing later on in life. Now, they're just trying to isolate that muscle. They just want to make it more prominent. They want the fibers to pop. They want to make it more dense looking. Notice I said isolate because they've done the compounds to build. Stick to the heavy compounds. You're not massive. You need to get massive. Need to do the heavy weights with the compounds, and in the same time strengthen those shoulder joints, strengthen your elbows, strengthen your tendons. Another thing as well, I know this video is going on a little bit, it's getting a little bit long, I know it is. I'm just going to mention one last thing as well. Those people suffering from tendonitis, stop using machines. I will guarantee you, just from you stop using machines and you're going all the way down and doing the full stretch in your workouts, with the risk of tendonitis coming back or even happening is almost going to be zero. You will see a lot of powerlifters. Again, I'm going to go back to powerlifters when I say this. How many of those have tendonitis when it comes down to the meets or the comp days or whatever you want to call it? Hardly any of them. They're not bandaged up. In fact, you can't even put a knee wrap or whatever when you're powerlifting. It's not allowed. You need to have bare elbows, naked elbows or whatever they call it. Been out of powerlifting so long, it's been a while. So hopefully that sums it up and you guys get a little bit of an understanding that this is very simple, this game. If you've been following the series so far, you know it's very, very simple. But I think people have lost their path along the way. They keep looking to the left, they keep looking to the right, thinking, this guy's doing it like that guy's doing it like that. I've been telling this guy's telling me this guy's telling me that. And I understand, there's a lot of conflicting opinions on there. And this is probably a conflicting opinion to what you're used to hearing. But you've got to pick a guy, find someone who you think, you know what, this is the guy I like to follow. This is the person who I think has some credible information. And you got to stick to it, bro. Don't be an asshole. We all hate those. Don't be one. So hopefully, if this video gave you any value, please subscribe, comment, and like.